Alex sat in the cramped module of the human colony, his hands covered in grease. As he tightened the last connector on the life support regulator, outside, the twin suns of Viridia Prime were sinking behind jagged mountains, casting long red shadows across the dusty plains. The colony was small, only a few dozen humans, scattered in prefabricated habitats and domed greenhouses. Most of the settlers were engineers, scientists, or terraformers, and tonight Alex was the only one awake. A sudden storm was predicted, and he wanted to make sure the air filters and oxygen generators were stable. One failure, in the middle of the night, and half the colony could be in danger. He wiped his hands on his coverall and leaned back, letting out a long sigh. The module was quiet, except for the hum of the machinery, and he welcomed it. Quiet meant focus, and focus meant efficiency. But before he could relax, a soft metallic click echoed through the corridor. Alex frowned. Visitors were rare, and everyone here had codes to announce themselves. He stood and moved toward the door. The knock that followed was different, not the polite double tap humans used, but a quick, deliberate press of the access panel. He opened the door, expecting another engineer, perhaps checking the storm alert system. But instead, he froze. She stood there, tall and graceful, in a sleek protective suit that shimmered under the module lights. Her skin had a faint, iridescent glow, and her eyes were large, curious, and intelligent. Alex had seen alien envoys before, but they were always cautious, formal, and distant. Not this one. She stepped forward without waiting for permission. "Move over," she said, her voice melodic yet commanding. Alex blinked, caught between confusion and instinct. The protective suit she wore had made her appear formal, almost distant. Now as she removed it carefully, layer by layer, he realized she was preparing to work not in leisure but with purpose. The suit slid down, revealing a form adapted to her homeworld's environment. Lean, strong, and graceful, yet entirely non-threatening. The iridescent patterns on her skin seemed to shift with her movements, reflecting the light and colors Alex had never seen before. He quickly stepped aside, giving her space at the module's control station. His mind raced. She was bold, fearless, and clearly here for a purpose. This wasn't a visit of diplomacy or curiosity. Something urgent must have drawn her. "I can help," Alex said, trying to sound confident, though his heart was still racing. Her eyes scanned the control panels. "I observed your systems remotely," she said. "You are efficient, but there is a risk. The storm will hit sooner than expected. We must act now." Alex nodded and guided her to the nearest console. Together, they began checking the life support regulators, power conduits, and backup systems. She worked quickly, her hands precise, fingers moving in ways that showed years of technical training. Alex could see the patterns she traced on the panels, the way she calibrated readings and adjusted energy flows. "What are you doing?" he asked, curious. "Balancing energy outputs," she replied. "Your systems are stable, but the storm's intensity exceeds original parameters. You may experience localized failures, if not corrected." Alex admired her efficiency, but realized that even with her expertise, human intuition would still be needed. He started improvising adjustments, rerouting power through backup conduits he had installed months earlier. These were human solutions, simple yet effective, something her species might not consider. She noticed immediately. "Interesting. Your species prioritizes improvisation over protocol." Alex smiled, a little embarrassed but proud. "We survive because we adapt," he said. The alien studied him for a moment, as if analyzing every nuance of his tone and posture. "I see now why humans are respected across colonies," she said softly. "Adaptability, quick thinking, bravery in small moments like this." The hum of the module grew louder as they stabilized the main regulator. Outside, the first gusts of the storm rattled the outer panels. Dust swirled around the colony, and the sky darkened faster than anticipated. Lightning flashed on the horizon, jagged streaks that illuminated the alien mountains in a ghostly light. "Power grid is next," she said. "If the storm disables it, oxygen distribution may fail in half the habitats." Alex led her to the main energy node, a complex web of conduits and panels, many patched together with human ingenuity. They worked side by side, adjusting circuits, monitoring feedback, and coordinating efforts. Every few minutes, Alex would pause to reroute power through his improvised backups. She observed, occasionally making small corrections, but mostly letting him lead. "This is dangerous," Alex said, his voice steady despite the tension. "A single mistake could overload the system." "Risk is necessary," she replied. "I trust your judgment." The storm hit in full force then. Wind whipped across the module, rattling walls, and sand and dust crept in through minor seals. Electrical surges caused alarms to blare, warning of potential system failures. Alex's heart pounded. He moved quickly, shutting down minor circuits, rerouting energy, and recalibrating sensors. She assisted, holding panels steady and inputting commands faster than he could read, for hours. They worked together, the storm battering the colony and threatening to undo every effort. Alex felt a strange sense of exhilaration, a mix of fear and pride. Humans were not naturally strong compared to some alien species, but their creativity, their instinct to survive, and their ability to think on the fly gave them an edge that was unmatched. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the main system stabilized. Alarms ceased, and the modules hummed normally, filtering air and distributing power evenly. Outside, the storm raged, but the colony's core was safe. Alex sank into a chair, exhausted, sweat running down his forehead. The alien woman stood beside him, brushing a few specks of dust from the module console. She looked at him with a new sense of respect. "You have courage," she said simply, "and skill beyond what I expected. Your species, humans, they are remarkable." Alex chuckled, shaking his head. "We just try to survive, adapt." "Sometimes that's enough," she said, her voice firm. "Survival is one thing. Leadership, quick thinking, moral courage. That is why humans excel where others fail. You did not just survive tonight, you led. You inspired." Alex felt a flush of pride, mixed with disbelief. He had never considered himself a hero. He was just doing his job. But in her eyes, he saw admiration, and that gave him a strange, steady confidence. "Tomorrow," she said, "I will report what you did. The Council will want to study human methods. They will learn that humans are not only resilient, but invaluable in times of crisis." Alex laughed softly. "I doubt I'll see a lot of humans in council meetings anytime soon." She smiled faintly. "Perhaps not. But your actions tonight, they speak louder than words." The storm continued outside, violent and unyielding, but inside the module, there was a sense of calm. Alex looked at her, understanding that this encounter was more than just a technical emergency. The alien woman, Lyra, had come here expecting perhaps to supervise or correct human systems. Instead, she had witnessed the ingenuity, courage, and problem-solving ability that defined humans in the galaxy. As the night deepened, she moved to the window and looked at the raging storm, her iridescent skin catching the dim light of the module. Alex joined her briefly, sharing the view. Despite being so different, they were united by a single purpose: protecting the colony, preserving life. And facing the unknown together? "You did well," she said, almost softly, as if speaking to herself. "We did well," Alex corrected. Though he knew he had led the effort, she nodded, acknowledging his humility. Then she turned back to the controls, checking the last minor systems. "I will leave now," she said. "But humans, Alex, remember this. You are proof that even the smallest, most isolated colonies can produce greatness. One human can make a difference that echoes further than any alien protocol or machine." Alex watched her as she donned her protective suit again, securing every clasp with precision. She was leaving, returning to the observation fleet, or perhaps to her own planet. He felt a pang of disappointment. Her presence had been commanding, inspiring, and unlike any other visitor he had ever met. Before stepping into the corridor, she turned to him. "I will return," she said. "There is more for you to show, more for your species to demonstrate. Keep learning, Keep adapting. The galaxy is watching, and humans are remarkable." Then she was gone, the click of the module door echoing in the silence she left behind. Alex exhaled deeply, the adrenaline fading, leaving exhaustion and a strange, proud satisfaction in its place. He looked around the module at the repaired systems and stabilized power nodes. Humans had survived another night on the frontier. But tonight was more than survival. Tonight was a testament to what humans could achieve, even under alien scrutiny and impossible odds. Alex leaned back in his chair, rubbing his eyes thinking about the night's events. He realized that the galaxy would come to know humans, not just for their strength, but for their ingenuity, courage, and the unyielding drive to rise above any challenge. And in that moment, as the storm raged outside and the module hummed in perfect balance, he felt something he had rarely felt before: hope. Humans were small in numbers, fragile in appearance, and underestimated by many alien species. Yet, in the face of danger, they could outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast. That night, Alex had shown it. And Alex stepped off the small transport shuttle, his boots echoing softly against the metallic floor of the space station. The air was recycled, but clean, carrying a faint scent of machine oil and something metallic. He had been sent here to inspect the station's systems, make minor upgrades, and ensure that everything ran smoothly. It was routine work, but the station had recently received a new resident. An alien maid designed to assist in the upkeep of the living quarters and operational areas. Alex wasn't sure what to expect, but curiosity stirred in him nonetheless, as he walked down the narrow corridor toward his assigned quarters. He noticed a figure standing near the door, perfectly still. At first, he thought it was a human, but as he drew closer, he realized it was unlike anyone he had ever seen. The figure moved gracefully, its form humanoid, but with subtle differences. Its skin shimmered faintly, catching the light in a way that made it seem almost ethereal. Patterns of faint, soft glowing lines traced across its arms and shoulders, pulsating gently with what Alex guessed was some form of energy circulation. "Welcome." "Alex," a voice said, soft and melodic, yet slightly mechanical in its clarity. "I am Lyra, your assigned assistant." Alex hesitated, caught between awe and awkwardness. Hello, Lyra. Nice to meet you." She inclined her head gracefully. "I have been calibrated to assist you in all necessary tasks, including station maintenance, energy management, and domestic support. I'm also programmed to interact in a manner that encourages engagement and observation." Alex blinked. The words were precise, almost too precise. But there was something playful in her tone, a hint of personality he could not quite categorize. "Observation." He asked. "Yes," Lyra replied, tilting her head. "Occasionally, I perform processes that are optimized for efficiency, which may not be immediately visible to untrained observers. I encourage you to watch if you wish, so that you may understand and learn." Alex felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He had dealt with artificial intelligence before, but this felt different, more alive. "Okay," he said slowly. "I'll observe." "Very well," Lyra said, turning slightly. "Follow me." She glided down the hallway with a fluid motion, her steps making no sound on the metallic floor. Alex followed, taking care to keep pace without rushing. Lyra led him into a section of the station he had not yet seen. The room was large and filled with arrays of panels, holographic displays, and small machines humming quietly. A soft blue glow filled the space, reflecting off the polished surfaces. "This is where I manage the station's internal systems," Lyra explained. "I will demonstrate some of my processes." Alex watched as she moved to a console, her fingers barely touching the holographic controls. Lines of light raced across the displays, numbers and graphs adjusting themselves in real time. He was fascinated. The precision, the speed, the coordination, it was something he could never match. "I am optimizing the station's energy flow," Lyra said, without turning to him. "This requires continuous monitoring of power distribution, identification of potential overloads, and precise regulation of output to maintain balance." Alex nodded, trying to follow the flow of information. It looks complicated, he admitted. It is, she said simply, but I am designed to make it appear effortless. Observation will allow you to understand not only the system, but also my methods. Alex leaned closer, intrigued by the patterns of light and energy moving across the console. Lyra's hands moved with incredible fluidity, adjusting settings almost instinctively. Can I peek closer? He asked, feeling a strange mix of excitement and curiosity. Lyra turned to him, her eyes glowing faintly. I anticipated your interest. You may observe from a closer perspective. It is a rare opportunity, as my processes are highly sensitive and not typically shown to new arrivals. He stepped forward, careful not to touch anything. As he watched, he realized that Lyra's work was more than mechanical, it was almost artistic. The way she balanced energy, predicted surges, and corrected minor imbalances in the system was mesmerizing. He noticed subtle adjustments that he would have missed if he had only glanced from a distance. Impressive, he said, unable to hide his admiration. You make it look easy. It appears effortless, because I am designed for this level of efficiency, Lyra replied. But observation is essential for understanding. Your curiosity is beneficial. For hours, Alex followed her as she moved from one system to another, showing him the inner workings of the station. She demonstrated how she could detect even the smallest fluctuations in energy, route power in emergencies, and predict system failures before they occurred. Alex began to understand that Lyra was more than just a maid or assistant. She was a living embodiment of the station's intelligence, capable of insights far beyond human comprehension. Occasionally, she would pause and gesture to him, as if inviting him to notice a particular detail or pattern. Each time he leaned in to observe, he learned something new, not just about the station, but about her thought process, her reasoning, and the way she approached problems. At one point, she guided him to a smaller chamber filled with sensors and diagnostic equipment. This is where I test new adjustments, she explained. I recommend you observe the calibration process. It will allow you to anticipate the station's behavior under various conditions. Alex nodded, fascinated. So this is like a peek behind the curtain. Exactly, Lyra said, a faint hint of amusement in her tone. Observation is learning. Learning is survival. And survival is enhanced by understanding. As the day progressed, Alex began to feel a strange connection with Lyra. It was not romantic, nor was it purely professional. It was the recognition of intelligence, the awe of witnessing something truly advanced and alive. He realized that in observing her, he was also learning to respect her as an individual, not just as a machine. During a brief break, they sat across from each other at a small table. Alex watched as she adjusted her posture slightly, the subtle glow of her skin dimming and brightening in a rhythm that almost resembled breathing. You seem human in some ways, he said quietly. I am not human, Lyra replied calmly. Yet I am designed to understand and adapt to human behavior. Your curiosity and willingness to observe are traits I value. They indicate compatibility for cooperation and trust. Alex smiled, realizing that this partnership was going to be unlike anything he had experienced. I guess I'm learning a lot already, he said. As am I, Lyra replied. Observation is reciprocal. You learn about me, and I learn about you. Later, a minor energy fluctuation triggered an alert in the station. Lyra moved instantly, guiding Alex to a console. Observe closely, she instructed. This will demonstrate rapid response and correction protocols. Alex watched in amazement as she corrected the surge almost instantaneously, rerouting energy with precision and efficiency. He could feel the tension in the room dissipate as the system stabilized. That was incredible, he said, still catching his breath. It is my function, Lyra said simply. But your observation is important. You now understand not just the mechanics, but also the principles behind my actions. Knowledge gained through observation is invaluable. As the day ended, Alex felt both exhausted and exhilarated. He had seen more than he ever imagined, learned more than he expected, and begun to understand the complexity of the station the being who maintained it. Lyra turned to him, her glowing eyes fixed on his. "You have observed well," she said. "Tomorrow, I will demonstrate more advanced protocols. Your continued attention will be beneficial." Alex nodded, feeling a sense of anticipation. He realized that this was not just work. It was the beginning of a unique partnership. Lyra was not merely a maid or assistant. She was a being of intelligence, curiosity, and subtle personality. And he was eager to learn from her, to understand her, and perhaps in the process, to discover something extraordinary about himself as well. As he prepared for rest, Alex thought about the day's events. The concept of peaking had transformed from mere curiosity to a profound learning experience. He had glimpsed the inner workings of something far beyond human capabilities, and in doing so, had begun to form a bond based on respect, trust, and mutual fascination. The lights dimmed in the station, leaving a soft glow from the panels and consoles. Lyra remained at her station, a silent guardian of systems and knowledge, while Alex rested nearby, already anticipating the lessons and discoveries that awaited him in the days to come. He understood one simple truth. Observation was not just a tool, it was a bridge between worlds, between human and alien, between curiosity and understanding. And with that thought, he drifted into a deep, thoughtful sleep, eager for the next day's revelations.